Okay, next up is chord progressions. So we're going to do a chord progression. We're going to start with the majors first, and you're going to have either 1-4-1 or 1-5-1, and they use Roman numerals. So just in case you don't know the Roman numerals yet, we have I stands for 1, IV stands for 4, and V stands for 5. So for the Roman numerals, when we have 1-4-1, what you want to do is first, let's say it's E major, and we're going to do 1-4-1. So what I want to do first is find out my sharps or my flats. So if E major, just like you did on problem number 1, you go down a half step. The last sharp then is D sharp. So you have F, C, G, and D. Those are the 4 sharps we're going to use. Now on this problem it says to use accidentals, not the key signature. So do not write your sharps at the beginning. You're going to use accidentals. That means you'll put the sharp next to whatever the note is. This actually, to me, makes it a little bit easier, and I'll explain to you why in just a minute. So the first thing we want to write is a 1 chord. If we're in the key of E major, E is number 1. So you start with the E, and you draw the chord. Now, we want to make sure it's major, so let's look at the notes. We have E, G, B. Now look up here. Are any of those notes, E, G, and B, are they in here? And the answer is yes, we have a G. So you want to make the G a sharp. Another way to do that, use your pattern, whole, whole, half, whole, and you'll see that there's a G sharp in there. Next, we're going to go to the 4. So if E is number 1, E, F, G, A. So that means our next one starts on A. Use your pattern, whole, whole, half, whole, or just look up here. You're like, okay, A, C, E. There's a C, so that's a sharp. Then you go back to number 1, E, G sharp, B. So these two are the same, exactly the same, first and the last one. So make sure that they're the same when you're doing the test. The one in the middle will be different. Now I'm going to have us do 1-5-1 because this one's a little bit different. So in the middle we get the V. Now the 5th note in E is E, F, G, A, B. So we're going to start on a B. Okay, so you have a B, D, F. Now if you look up here, F and D are supposed to be sharps. Or again, you can do the pattern, whole, whole, half, whole. So I have D sharp and F sharp. That's my 1-5-1. These will always be the same, the first and the last. So now we're going to look at the minors. Now this gets a little bit more tricky. So we're going to do, let's do E minor, because that's one that you've already learned. So E minor, if you go up 3 half steps, is related to G major. G major, go down a half step, that's F sharp. That means our last sharp is F. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I have an F sharp. So we're in E minor. So they use lowercase Roman numerals to make the minors. So we're going to start with 1-4-1. So in E minor, note number 1 is E. So we draw the E chord. And the only sharp we have is F. There's no F's in this chord, so it's minor. Now number 4, E, F, G, A. So we start with the A. And again, look, no F's in here, so no sharps. And then this is the same as this one, E, G, B. And that's that. Now, when we get to the 5, this is where it gets different again. Now the 5 chord, when we're in minor or major, it always ends up being a major chord, no matter what. There's a whole big explanation for that we'll talk about a little bit later. But for now, all you need to know is it's always major. So you can use your pattern to find that one major chord. Don't use it on these minors though, because that will not work out because they're minor, not major. So 5th note in E, E, F, G, A, B. So, excuse me, we're gonna start with B, D, F. Now, you do have an F sharp because that's part of the key signature. So we would put that there. Then we want to make this major. To make this major, we have to also make the D a sharp because of the whole, half, whole pattern. So that's what the 1-5-1 ends up looking like in E.